Hey, chillins, welcome to Storytime with Varden. I am your host, Varden M. Frias, and today we're just going to be reading off of my Halloween short stories, which I had to find. We're just going to be reading pretty much what's on the. Oh, Instagram's not working. We'll fix that later. Pretty much what's on the preview for the story for the books that I have on Amazon, because I do have them on other platforms, but for now, it's pretty much like most people buy my books from Amazon. So, all right, let me check. Someone like my stream. There is so much going on my thing, my browser here. Okay, I have to go. Okay, we're having technical difficulties over on Instagram. It's okay. Really needs to go live on there though. Live. Awesome. Checking connection again. Cool. All right, I'm live on Instagram. Hey, y'all. And I'm live on Facebook. Cool. Okay, that was crisis averted on the other platform. So, hello, Mary. How you doing? Live over on all the well, both of the platforms. So, after oh, I got two people in here on the old Facebook. So, hi, Dennis Shiv. Hi. I was going over on Instagram. I'm going to be reading from my Halloween books. This is one of them, Dark Spectrals. That is my Halloween special from 2021. This is from last year. I do a Halloween special every year, and it varies in size. And this is like the novella size. It's pretty small, as you can see. Very. I like to do fun size treats for Halloween. So. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is my latest release is Murrow's Secret, which is my Halloween special for this year. It's even shorter. It's only 5,000 words. So yeah, I'm pretty that's out on Amazon. It's called Murrow's Secret. Muro for Murrow Secret. So I'm also like live streaming on two different platforms. So forgive me if I don't see your comment. So hello, Furnitureville Home Design. Pretty sure that's not a regular person, but please say hello, Furnitureville Home Design. Hello, Facebook user. Okay, that's what I was thinking too, that it was Chris. All right, cool. Okay, get that off. Cool. Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty chill day. I'm just like, most of my energy is basically going into making the videos for my TikToks. If you've been following me on TikTok and Instagram, then you know that I've been making little short videos, kind of like my spooky videos. It's my new art form that I wanted, like that I've been dabbling into, and it's a lot of fun, because mostly what I do is that I take a stock photo and I manipulate it with Motion Leap and Canva. I put some text on there with Canva. And it's actually pretty fun, and it looks great in my opinion. So I that's what I've been sharing over on Instagram and TikTok. So I want to go live on TikTok, but I do not have enough followers yet. So if you know some people that like spooky things, then go ahead. Or if you like spooky things and you are not following me on TikTok, I am Varden Frias. I think it's Varden M. Frias underscore author. I think that's my TikTok name. So my TikTok handle. So. And here today we got a drink that I have not had in a very long time. This is apple cider. I haven't had this drink in a very long time. I'm very excited to be drinking it. It is it's basically like Walmart apple cider, but it checks out. So I think it will. What I can see of your shirt looks cool. Oh, thank you. It's one of my favorite shirts. It's a little big on me. I got a little oversized, but it's one of my favorite shirts. It's from Killstar. It is like a luxury goth clothing company, but I get all of their stuff on sale because they have stuff on sale like all the time. So that's what I get. So Oh no, it's non-alcoholic. This is not alcoholic. This is virgin apple cider. This is the what the kiddies drink. So it's good. So I've never had this brand before, by the way. Oh, that is good. That is really good. Apple cider. Hello, Go Cemetery. Checking out the apple cider, the non-alcoholic apple cider. So it's really good, actually. I like it. Man, I forgot how good apple cider is. I so last year around some point I did have the Angry Orchard apple cider, like spiked cider. I guess that's what it's called. I haven't had the regular kind in a very long time. Glad I got it. I'm glad I waited until this point to have it, so I'm really really happy about that. There's a cider mill not far from my home, says Mary. It is delicious. I'm pretty sure there's no cider mills where I live. It's very there's not a lot of fall stuff here. Like there's not a lot of fall stuff to do. There's no pumpkin patches as far as I know. I would love there to be, but it's out in the middle of the desert, and not too much pumpkin patches here. But when I go to Salem and when I go to Boston, those areas and Providence and all those New England adventure that I will have in a couple of weeks. I can't believe it's almost here. But yeah, when that comes, then I'll be able to go to an actual pumpkin patch, and I'll be able to go through the corn maze and crazy things like that. Things that I've been missing for the past couple of years. So also, speaking of things that happened in the past couple of years, I got a haircut. Someone else cut my hair, which is really nice. It's I haven't had my hair cut by anyone since January 2020. So really really happy about how it how they did it because my hair was like ridiculously uneven. Like the person that was cutting my hair was just like, your hair is like super long on one side, and it's always like it's like kind of short up in the front. So it's like, oh, I really need to fix my hair. So, and I did. It looks great. Oh, the filters on here are just, let's do fall filter. Let's see. That's on Instagram. So, woo, cool. I like to shake up the filters on Instagram. It's making my face look orange. It's okay. It makes this look cool though. So, Great Pumpkin Patch near me, Mary says. They have a corn maze, hay rides. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Um, which one is it actually? It might be the one that I went to when I was living in Seattle because we went to I don't remember the name of it, but it was like a huge pumpkin patch. Um, it was like a pumpkin patch, corn maze, a little farm based like it was like a regular, not an industrial farm, but the farm was owned by a mom and pop farm, which is like the best kind, where that everything there is like made like literally made from somebody's family, which is really nice. So I love that. Thank you. I'm really happy with how my hair turned out. It's called Bob's Corn. I don't remember specifically which one that I went to, but I will look that up and see if that's the one that I went to because it was really nice. It was just any kind of pumpkin patch experience is great for me. But then that was the first one that I'd gone to in a while, and I did a corn maze when I was younger. I think my first corn maze was when I was like 11. I had mixed feelings about it because this corn maze, for some reason, the people there decided to water the corn maze. I don't know what was going on, but it was like muddy all over the place, and it fucked up my shoes at that point. And I was just really upset from that. Like, other than I liked the being in the corn maze, like I liked that as a kid, but like my shoes were all like messed up. And later I had to clean off, like there was like a thick layer of like mud stuck caked to the bottom of my shoes. And these were nice shoes. So like I had just bought the shoes and we had no idea that there were like the corn maze was going to be this bad. I'd never been to a corn maze that had that level of like, oh, look at all this mud. So if I had known that, I should have brought like some actual boots or something, but I had no idea. I was like, I have no idea how old I was at that point. Bob started growing and selling corn when he was a kid. It's evolved and grown over the years as Bob grew up. That is really cool. That like Bob, his own farm. It's not like, Kern Farms, where it's like, I guess Murray Farms, which is the farm I went to back in California, not Seattle. That was a really that I feel like that's kind of the same thing. It's like you find it on the side of the freeway, and then like it's owned by one person, and it's like the family has it's probably been passed down through the generations and stuff. That's the kind of farm that's really cool to me because it has that nice like familiar feel. It's just like it's a better experience. I think because it's not as big either. They're usually smaller, like relatively smaller. Now, if it's an industrial like corn thing, those things go on forever. I want to go in those. That's actually terrifying. So the other ones are like they're fun and they're cute. So I lost my audience over on Instagram. They'll be back. Yeah. I also shaved. So lots of changes going on here. So I will bring up the Muro secret since it looks like we're pretty also if I look like I'm really distracted, I have like 3 windows up. Just trying to pick the best one to share with everybody, and I can't share on Instagram. So Instagram doesn't let you use desktop either for when you do like streams and stuff. Mildly unfortunate. So my setup's a little better today though. What happened? That's a long link. I don't think it needs to be that long. But anyway, that's a link for Muro Secret. If you were on Facebook, if you were on Instagram, the link will be in my bio if you want to get that. I need to fix my bio because my bio is the storytimewithvardenstore.com, which I suppose that I can make an ebook version of that and just have people buy it directly from there, which is a great idea. I should probably do that today. Because I'll be very busy this week, so I need to do that. So yeah, I can do that. At the moment, though, it is available on Amazon. Pretty much wherever you can get an ebook, it is available there. So that's the thing. So let me see if I can share my screen so I can share my screen with the Facebook people so you can see my story. Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? What happened? I confused myself. Okay. There we go. Take a look inside. Actually, I'm not sharing my screen yet, am I? Okay. I just want to make sure that no private information is on my Amazon page. Just to make sure that people don't like see the type of things that I buy. So oh, Mary, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Awesome. Yeah, let me know what you think about it. It was a little I'm not gonna say it's a little different from what I normally write, but it's like I feel like the story is I don't know how to describe it. Every time I talk about my stuff, I have no idea how to describe it. But I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad someone found enjoyment in it. In it. Where is it? I'm confusing myself. Okay. All right. Make myself a little bit. I think I'm okay for now as far as the size. So here it is, people on Facebook. And again, for people on Instagram, I'm talking about my new release, Muro Secret, available on Amazon. It is a short story, only 5,000 words. It is my Halloween special for 2022. So I don't think I made a Halloween special for 2020 because Lord Samhain was my 2019 special. Yeah, I think 2020 I just didn't release anything. And then, well, 2020 was a crazy year, so I'm not too hung up on that, but oh, it was cool. Thank you. All right. So I'm gonna read let's go with the first. Whoa. Okay, I'll read down to the end of the sample. How about that? So you all can see. Okay. So all right. Also, my thing's in the way. I need to get that out of the way. Sorry, it's taking forever. There we go. Okay. Murrow's secret. Josepho rode his tricycle along Festo's only street, the soft tires crushing fallen leaves and splitting black puddles down the middle into icy arcs. His wavy brown hair fluttered in the chilly autumn breeze as he traced the eternally curving sidewalk, guided by the ruddy orange light of the moon, in the hope of finding what lay behind the giant thorny wall where the town both ended and began. The wall known as Murrow. Other Festonians whispered the secrets of what that wall kept, but in reality their ponderings only manifested into nothing more than conjecture. But their inability to cross the boundary of the wall left them with simplistic musings. Their questions lingered in the rafters of conversation, like forgotten cobwebs, and dwindled once their temporal appetites had been sated. As often as Josepha rode down the street, fear always kept him from reaching the end. However, it was not the fear of what he may uncover, but rather the apprehension of not discovering anything at all. Regardless, he continued cutting through a wispy fog embankment as he pedaled through downtown, passing their ritual meeting place and the cookie-cutter residential district filled with houses saturated in pastel hues. He made it further than ever before that night, where the emptiness of the town's outskirts displayed Murrow's prickly branches as clear as the shops and houses he previously passed. Then it was only him, the road, and the purple, green, and orange stars above. And Murrow, who grew taller with each passing turn of the tricycle wheels. Josepho stopped abruptly as he reached the cul-de-sac at the end of the road, where Murrow the Wall of Mystery stood at its tallest, blocking anyone from seeing what existed beyond Festo's city limits. Josepho's little fingers gripped the tricycle handles, his pitch-black spider eyes reflected the violet lights in Murrow's branches like forbidden ethereal fruit, inviting him to discover its mysteries. From his tricycle seat, he couldn't see through the thick barbed branches and spiky trunks. Then, the violet lights within the branches shifted and drew nearer to each other, inciting a deep sense of trepidation in the boy, but nonetheless tempting him to pass through the brown tendrils, wizened by the passage of time. He held still, his heart pounding as he stared at the pulsing light that crept towards him, forming in an oval shape, beckoning him to cross the threshold. He dismounted his trike an inch closer to the glowing oval, daring to brush his little fingers against the rough, dark brown spines and enter into Murrow's inner sanctum. Josepho! The familiar voice of his father made him jerk and shoot an instinctive glance over his shoulder. Josepho's father, Raoul, stood rigid in the bulb of the cul-de-sac, his hand outstretched towards his son. Apprehension filled his 8 eyes that darted from his boy to the wall. He rushed over to Josepho to pull him away, making an effort to keep his distance from the brambles, and scooped up the boy to balance on his hip. Josepho, what are you doing out here? You know you're not allowed to get so close to Murrow. And I think I'm going to stop there because it gets blurry over here. But that is the sample of Murrow's Secret that's available on Amazon. And it's also available wherever you can find, wherever you get ebooks. So that is Murrow's Secret. I'm going to take an apple cider break. That is really good stuff. I am very glad that I got the apple cider. It's very tasty. Let's change the filter over on Instagram. Gotta change them filters. There's a purple filter that I really like. It has like Hello Kitty stuff on it. But I like it because it's like it's purple and it like goes. It makes the color, the purple on my shirt, more purple instead of like pink. How it looks like on this one, because it's not this like in real life. Oh, I guess it is. This is kind of more realistic, but you know that's more purple. It's like the purple that I want it to be. So but yeah, that's Murrow's Secret. That is available on Amazon. Let me see if I can find my other things on here. My other yes, I want to visit my page. My other Halloween specials. So let me share the screen again. Okay, so this is Murrow's Secret right here. Also, in case anyone was curious, I made the cover for Murrow's Secret. I did all the art for it. Um, it came out okay. I kind of wish that I had more time to work on it. Um, I feel like some parts of it looked a little bit rushed and blurry, which is like something that I'm not too pleased of. I need to change this picture. That's a really old picture. This picture's from 2019. So, there's Dark Spectrals, which came out back in 2021, last year. Dark Spectrals. That is my Halloween special from last year. And let's find Lord Samhain, which I did a cover revision for that as well. So it's right here. I gotta click on it. Now, Lord Samhain is different from the other ones because it is a collection of Halloween stories. So instead of it being a full-on story, which is Dark Spectrals is a novella. Murrow's Secret is a short story, like flash fiction. This is a bunch of short stories. I think it's about 6. But yeah, that's Lord Samhain. I changed the cover. The cover. There we go. The cover. Let me see. I drew Rhaego, who is a character in the story. I drew him by hand and I colored it in on Procreate, and then I added this stuff in. The last time it just didn't look very good. It wasn't very solid, so I gave it more like I gave it different colors that I feel like are more appropriate for the story, and I changed the way that mine. It's a lot more legible too. The other one was as legible, so thank you. Yeah, I put a lot of all these covers I made myself. I made the Lord Samhain cover, and I made the Dark Spectrals cover last year. I'm really happy. That is not what I was expecting. Okay. Yeah, I made the Dark Spectrals cover again. There's Dark Spectrals merch that I also have on my Storytime with Martin .com, like Shopify store, the Dark Spectral that I have. So very happy with how that came out. Again, I drew the symbol in the middle, and then all the other stuff I used on Procreate, because Canva, which is the other side that I use to make my covers, it doesn't let you, like, it lets you do this where it can curve, but it doesn't let you like lengthen the work, because as you can see, this one has been like pooled and then this one is just curved. So yeah, I did this on Procreate, did that on Procreate. Many layers were formed that day when I was creating Dark Spectral. So yeah, I'm made that cover. So I wanted a simple cover for it. I didn't want anything too crazy. I know that a lot of people um, would either be drawn in by the lack of detail or they'll be put off by it. But I feel like it's pretty like good because like I wanted to make a person going in, like falling into the spiral in the middle. I don't know how well you can see that, the spiral right there. I wanted someone falling into it, but I felt like this looks cooler, just the way that it looks. So I went with that. Very happy with how it came out, though. So it's only 12:26. Wow, for Mountain Time people. So So yeah, the cover, I have the paperback. Let's see. Yeah, it looks, I don't know like what happens when it prints out, but like it printed out a little bit blurry for my taste. I'm gonna have to see like why it printed out so blurry, and I'm critiquing my covers. So let's see if I can find a excerpt. Let's see how long this one is. It's usually like a page. Wow, it's all the way to chapter 2. God, that's a huge sample. A very generous sample for that one. Yeah, you can see it clear here, the spiral, because it's a digital version. So very cool. Okay. And also my other titles that are not Halloween. Make sure. Okay. Halloween was an eerie black spot in Rayanne's memory. This is, by the way, this is Dark Spectrals Chapter 1 reading excerpt for people over on Instagram. I forgot to let you guys know that's what I'm doing. So we're just reading all my Halloween stuff today. So, okay, Dark Spectrals Chapter 1. Halloween was an eerie black spot in Rayanne's memory. It was her 22nd Halloween when her neighbor's jack-o'-lantern reawakened the memory of her 6th. It winked at her from this sliver of night between the window curtains just like it once did all those years ago. She paused, squinting. The winking continued. She crossed from the kitchen into the living room to draw the curtains shut. The chilly breeze flickered the candle's flame inside the neighbor's jack-o'-lantern, the cause of the winking illusion. As her eyes trailed over to her own lawn, she spotted a tall, lanky figure standing at the edge of the curb, facing her house. It wore a broad-brimmed hat and a cloak that fluttered in the autumn breeze. A buzzing from her pocket made her jump. She scrambled for her phone, glancing up again at the lawn to find it empty, and caught her breath. She shook her head, confused, then unlocked her screen and found she had received a text from her friend Avery. "Come over." She sighed and stuffed the phone back into her pocket, then dashed back over to the kitchen to throw pasta in the rolling boil. She set up a comedy sketch podcast to play on her laptop while she cooked dinner. "We'll be out pretty late." Rayanne jumped and peered through the kitchen wall cutout to frown at her mother coming from down the hall. "Hello, Haunted Craft Seattle. I'm reading an excerpt from my Halloween novel, Dark Spectrals. I'm reading this right now. It is chapter 1. Reading an excerpt out of it today on Amazon. So if you like spooky things, it is a nice spooky book available on Amazon. That is the ebook and the paperback. So those are both available on Amazon. So Rayanne jumped and peered through the kitchen wall cutout to frown at her mother, coming from down the hall. "You didn't have to knock 3 years off my life." Mom grinned. "You always scare so easily this time of year." Rayanne turned back to the stove, stirring the pasta as her parents headed for the door. "Text us if you need anything, Anna." Dad always called her Anna. Rayanne glanced from the comedy sketch long enough to nod and affirm. "I will." "Bye, Ray Ray," Mom called. "Bye." Rayanne's sole attention was focused on the comedy sketch as her parents walked out the door. She glanced to the window and found she had not drawn the curtains. After a moment's hesitation, she trudged over to pull the drapes together. In the autumn twilight, the misty light of her parents' car drove off down the road. The lanky figure was back on the lawn. She groaned as she grabbed a flashlight, muttering "creeper" under her breath as she made for the front door. As she closed in on the figure, it didn't move. The air around it seemed chillier. "Excuse me?" She stopped a few paces away, facing its backside. The tang of vegetable rot and damp soil wafted from it. Her voice had always been small, but it trembled unlike it had before that night. "Can you not stand on my lawn, please?" The figure turned abrupt, startling her. Glowing purple eyes glinted from deep black sockets, but the dimness of twilight left all other features to shadow. A few precious seconds passed that left the figure's face in darkness, as she fumbled for her flashlight. The creature's gaze shifted to the street, where costumed children strolled, their cacophonous murmuring echoed. The figure turned to look upon her once more, and left in a puff of violet electric synapses. The scent of soggy dead leaves and cinnamon permeated the vacant chill. A distant beep shrieked, but it fell on her deaf ears as she stared at the blank space left behind by the stranger. The beep grew louder, demanding her attention, until she turned back to the house to find the smoke alarm blaring. Crap! She rushed back to the kitchen where smoke billowed and turned off the burner before dashing back to the front door to fan it out. Children in costumes crowded the small street, a few making their way to her door. She slipped back in and shut it. A buzz from her pocket distracted her, and she swiped up on her phone to find another text from Avery. I would come over, but I've got my Snuggie on. Come over, please. Rayanne sighed and texted back. Sure, I'll be over in a few minutes. She walked out with her coat into the Anoka, Minnesota autumn twilight. A ruddy violet band streaked the horizon as night descended upon the small town. A sudden dread overcame her. She quickly stamped it out and bolted for her car. A scream from across the street stopped her. Across the street, two kids fought over a candy bucket, spilling the contents. Blood squirted, forcing her to turn and go over. Hey! When she had crossed the street and managed to pull them apart, they were laughing. One of the kids smeared the blood on the other, who giggled and squirmed but did not run away. The Mordred's got you now! The blood was red from a fruit gusher. The blood was red jelly from a fruit gusher. Hello, Candy495. I'm reading an excerpt from my Halloween novel, Dark Spectrals. It is chapter 1 that I'm reading. The blood was red jelly from a fruit gusher. I'm a Mordred, I'm going to eat you. The kid with the gusher screamed and dove in for the other, licking the jelly off the other's forehead. Oh, gross. Rayanne shook her head, confused, and turned for her car, when a tall figure behind a tree near the porch caught her attention. It emerged. Its bald, round head caught the porch light, casting the rest of its skinny form into a silhouette as it bounded for a teenage girl. The girl's scream erupted into a fit of laughter as the figure pranced around her, flailing its arms above its head in a silly dance. A teenage boy ran up to the girl, taking her hand and whisking her away. The skinny figure stayed, facing Rayanne as she got into her car. It continued to watch her as she drove past it. She glanced in the rearview mirror, finding that violet eyes glittered back at her from the skinny figure in the street as she turned onto the main road. She passed through the main strip and groaned when she saw the candy shop as she drove through Old Town. Forgot the candy, she muttered to herself as she pulled into a tight, touristy parking space. She headed in. Most of the items were old-fashioned candies, but the store owner kept bags of modern candy during the Halloween season. She grabbed a Halloween mix and a bag of Neckos for herself. Hey, Ray, the man tending the register said. Hey, Mark. She fumbled with her wallet. Where's the staff? They all wanted to go home early tonight. I guess they don't want the added stress. It's the busiest night of the year for you, she shrugged. Something's got everyone spooked, Ray. His hand shook as he handed her the change and the receipt. It reminds me of the old Mordred legend. She took the change, but he held it tight. Mark? The Mordreds. They always come on Halloween, he continued as though in a trance. She tugged on the money. His grip was as unrelenting as his 100-yard stare. It's just a fairy tale, she said. They come to eat your body and take your soul, Mark said. She ripped the change from his hands. The soggy dollars tore. Great. She took the candy bags from the counter. Mark continued to speak. They're worse than the Grim Reaper himself. Something in the back of the store caught her attention. A little boy in the corner holding a score bar staring at her with a sharp-toothed grin and 8 spider eyes. Aren't kids supposed to take their costumes off in the store? Rhea nodded to the boy as she took her change and stuffed it into her pocket. Have a good night, Mark. She turned out of the store and found that Twilight's final red line had vanished. The creeping sense of dread from earlier curled deeper into her gut as she hurried for her car and drove to Avery's. That was chapter 1 of Dark Spectrals. That is my Halloween special from last year. You can get on Amazon. The ebook is available wherever ebooks are sold. This is the paperback. And also, I did all the art. So, very, very happy about that. So, just like, this is my stuff. All right, over on Facebook, we still got everybody. Got one person over on Instagram. The cool thing about Instagram later is that like people like my streams after it's ended. So I'm just like, this is really cool because people can just like watch it at their leisure and kind of like skip around and like look at the parts that have the reading in it and stuff. So also, if you want a signed paperback of Dark Spectrals, you can find it on my Storytime with VardnaStore.com. For Instagram people, it is a link in my bio. You can order that. I think I have several copies left over, so it's like I haven't made a lot of sales in a while, but it is spooky season. If you want a spooky book, I can get that over to you. So, signed by me and some other little goodies. I'll try and make like a bookmark or something. I haven't. I got printer stuff, like printing ink and stuff that I can like print like new like bookmarks on. So saves me some time instead of having to go to some place like Sticker Mule or someplace like that. So that's cool. Just checking out the Facebook's people and just loving the fact that I got a really good apple cider. But basically, Dark Spectrals is about a young woman because she's about like 22, and she works at like a end of life care facility, and like it doesn't go into that, but that's what she does for a living, and she sees like a lot of people towards like the end of their life and things like that, and she has a phobia of Halloween because of something that happened when she was young. And it's kind of like you see in the beginning, it kind of hints at like, oh, she's the same thing happened again. And you see the creepy figure in her lawn just kind of standing there, kind of stalking her, and it keeps on coming back. And you find out later what these things are. But basically, they're Mordreds, which in this universe, they function like Grim Reapers. And you'll see later how like they interact with the human worlds. So this was I wanted to make a Dark Spectrals 2 this year, but I didn't have enough time. I just had a lot of stuff going on this year. So I made a short story, Murrow's Secret, which is set in the same universe, and there's also a Mordred in that one as well. So stay tuned for that. I already read from that, so if you are watching the recording, you can rewind and then you can listen to that. That's much earlier in the stream. So there's no one on Instagram anymore. That person left, I think. I don't know. Yeah, that was let me get back on Facebook. Any questions that I have from people? It's a little bit of radio silence and just figuring things out. I do have one more Halloween special because I've been doing this. I skipped 2020, but I was like, the first one was in 2019, and that was Lord Samhain. The second one was in 2021, which is last year, Dark Spectrals, which I just read. And my most recent one is Murrow's Secret. So that's my all my Halloween specials. I want to do like a whole like Halloween novel, just something huge. Yeah, you're all quiet today. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just doing basically just reading and chilling out stuff. I'm kind of quiet today too. I feel like I'm not rambling as much as I usually do, but that's okay. It's totally fine. So yeah, I'm trying like these recordings, by the way, for like Facebook people go on YouTube. And I noticed that my shorter content on YouTube is getting way more traction. So what I might do is that I might just shorten these streams to like the 5 minutes. Cat's doing cat things. Oh my god. Anyway, I might shorten it to like 5 minutes, and yeah, because I think I'll see, like I'll look at the metrics and see if like that does anything. If I shorten it that much, it might not. But I noticed that I'm looking at my older content that's like 2 minutes, like under a minute long, and those are getting way more views. So I'm like saying, I'm wondering if like shorter content is just like the way of the future for like YouTube, and like I know TikTok is. What do you guys think? Shorter content for my for my huge YouTube audience. No one even comments on my things on YouTube. Like I am trying to grow a following on YouTube. It's just like it's a little complicated because I don't interact on YouTube very much. Like I it's my experience on there is very passive. I do on occasion just kind of like comment on a video, but I don't have full on conversations. People don't comment on my videos. So yeah, it gets complicated. So all right, so we got Lord Samhain, and I think that'll be the last one for tonight. That is literally the only like last one because there's no more. So this is Lord Samhain, and I'm looking at this and I'm just like, this is really old stuff. So if it sounds really bad, I was not as professional as I am now. I'm just trying to like compare my writing ability and my formatting ability. As you can see, the people that are looking at the screen share on Facebook and later on YouTube, but it's okay. I learned. I need to fix this. It looks so bad. But anyways, you can see here are the stories. So there's Lord Samhain, the Zealot and his pet, Uncle Wendell's doll. No one knows where Kate went, Mask Maker, Cirque du Dejulu, and those are the stories. I need to count it because I'm 5. That is 6. 6 stories for the Lord Samhain. Let me see how long the excerpt is. It's long. Yeah, it is kind of long. Wow, that's longer than I expected. Okay, that's a long sample. Because when I read, my voice kind of gives out as well. Shorter for TikTok, 5 minutes tops. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Probably I've been kind of lazy posting to YouTube and posting the entire stream instead of like posting like little excerpts out of it and being like an actual YouTuber. So like I'll probably do that. So all right, let me clear my throat and then I will read a couple pages from Lord Samhain. So. Woo. That cat's giving me gray hairs, not gonna lie. It's okay, he's okay. Lord Samhain. Now, this is my Halloween special from 2019, my first Halloween special. It is available on Amazon, but is also available wherever ebooks are sold. It is not a paperback, it is strictly ebook. So, and I'm just going to put it on my website just to give it more traction. So, anyways, Lord Samhain. Halloween night, Anoka, Minnesota, 1919. Smoke billowed up from a trench cut into the side of a hill as a pugnance of burning flesh permeated the twilight air. A wall of fire spawned by burning corpses separated two Mordreds. Rhaego's violet gaze followed the smoke trail into Anoka's main street. He opened his mouth and the fire left from the trench glinted against the obsidian shards of his teeth. Flames leapt higher, exposing his jack-o'-lantern flesh. The dragon's breath of the wind bobbed his black broad-brimmed hat. He stepped closer, bent his spidery legs until he sat on the heels of his boots, and contemplated the mass grave. Great start. Across the trench, hidden by the wall of flames, stood Janulu. The exaggerated shadow of his ghoulish body stretched into the forest behind him. His black tongue glided along lips made bumpy from the scars of removed stitches before he exposed his razor teeth in a grin. Spiraled pupils set in rich violet irises turned like gears and alighted on each burning body. Orange light carved deep riblets of shadows into the ribbed texture of his sand-colored flesh. On the crest of the hill, a mass of humans wept. Mothers, fathers, cousins, and neighbors come to mourn. Should be came to mourn. I told you, this is a while back when I wrote this. Handkerchiefs covered the ladies' noses. Anoka's minister vocalized a prayer. Forgive the deceased, for the curse of influenza was not of their doing. Forgive them of their sins, Lord, that they may be accepted into heaven. The crowd uttered a collective amen after the minister ceased. Silence gripped the mourners. All that remained was the echo of the somber bonfire crackles. Then the mourners trudged en masse past the two mourners on either side of the flames, down the side of the slope. The mourners left behind the dwindling tongues of the pyre, and two mourners across the trench. Rhaego's stomach snarled awake after the fresh scent of the dead graced his nostrils. His gaze shifted back into the pit. Drool collected below his black tongue, oozed out of the sides of his teeth, but he flinched away. His shaking hands dove to the pouch on his side and removed a crystal aquamarine pipe. A black thin line marked the front of the pipe's bowl. The line split open into a mouth, incomplete with uneven, broken black teeth. Rhaego lit it with his shuddering fingers. The pipe Dimitri broke the silence. Okay, I'm going to say something right here that I changed, and I forgot to change. Dimitri's character is okay, so everything that I write with emojis in it, it changes each time, and I do that on purpose because each book that you're going to read, each story, they're changing because they change every single time because these creatures are like ancient. So I do change a few things, but with this character, the reason why he's speaking in English is because he's speaking directly to the pipist Dimitri is speaking directly to Rhaego, and that's kind of like their language with each other. But in other instances, Dimitri to everybody else speaks nonsense, and I do that on purpose because it's funny and it makes no sense. That's kind of like how I like to write that character. Because I don't want Dimitri to be like Rhaego's only voice, because Rhaego does speak, but he speaks in different ways. You know, I want his speech to come from his actions rather than his actual like words, because he doesn't talk a lot. So, hello on Instagram. I am reading Lord Samhain, which was my Halloween special from 2019. It is a short story collection on Amazon, but it's also available on wherever ebooks are sold. And you can find it on like Kindle, you can find it on Nook and all those other places. So that is Lord Samhain. That is Samhain. So, and also my voice is dying, so I might have to stop right here. My voice is getting tired from reading. So, oh, you like the pipe character? Awesome. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about the pipe character. He's sometimes he's comic relief because again, he just depending on who he speaks to, he's either speaking nonsense or he's just being a pain in the ass. Like either one, either way, he's a comic relief character. Because as you can see with that opening, it is a very dark story. So, okay, I'll read like this. I'll read his dialogue and then I'll stop. So the pipe Dmitri broke the silence. After 4,000 years, you're still not going to eat. You're going to die. Rhaego glared at Dmitri and flicked the side of the pipe with his black talon. And as you can see, they don't have the best relationship. He lifted the stem up to his lips and puffed. A congealed scent of rose petals and mint drifted out of the thick, webbed plume of violet smoke that crackled in the air like frayed wires. You can't blame me for keeping an eye out for us. Can't be you, anorexic freak. Dmitri continued. Rhaego clicked his teeth against the stem in a threefold succession before he clamped down with enough force to crack it. His long fingers clenched his stomach when it growled to announce its barren state. The threadbare fabric ripped where his talons punctured it. She died 4,000 years ago. You can't starve yourself because you can't. Rhaego smacked Dmitri against a nearby tree before he had a chance to finish the sentence and rose the stem to his lips for another puff. Only a glint in the night sky, followed by loud crackling, stopped him. He lowered the pipe and took a gander into the velvet abyss. So as you can see, or hear, depending on where you are, Rhaego is very, very old. He is an ancient creature with a very checkered past. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Take that off. Again, that is Lord Samhain. That is my 2019 Halloween. See, my voice is dying. Halloween special. So you can get that on Amazon, wherever ebooks are sold. I will put the link for people on Facebook. So while I'm doing that, does anyone have anything, any questions, any comments, things they want to say? Ooh. Why is apple cider so good? That's my question. In a very hilarious fake Southern accent. So I'm thinking now, just talking basically clean lady, housekeeping stuff. So pretty much from here on till the next couple of weeks, on the 25th is when I leave. I'm probably not going to do any kind of like, I have no idea what my content planning is like, but I'm probably not going to do any writing or anything. I'm just going to be on vacation. But I will be active on social media, posting updates on my trip and stuff like that, posting stories and whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'll be doing. As far as actual like novel stuff is concerned, I'm just going to be focused on world building for Divinorum, which is my third book in the Caldera's Vice trilogy, the final installment. That should be I'm hoping it'll be available next year. This is basically draft 2. Or draft 1, as I would like to say, of this, because it's not even like finished yet. Thanks for the show today. Enjoyed your readings. Thank you so much for reading it. Thank you so much for reading all of Boros Secret. That is always something that I love to hear. People reading and liking my stuff. So please post pics from your vacation. I will post pics and videos as often as I can, because it's been a while since I've actually been on vacation, and like I really needed a vacation. I've been stuck like ever since the pandemic, even before the pandemic started. I was just not going out too much and like not even socializing all that much. So like this is really like I haven't been on a vacation since October 2018. So I am very due for a vacation, and that vacation was like a weekend to see a friend's wedding, so like kind of counts, but not really. But yeah, I will post lots of pictures and videos, and I'll be just working on Divinorum and slinging the old Halloween specials. So, all right. So on Instagram, I'm gonna let you all go. Thank you all for coming, Instagram people. I'm gonna end the live if I can do that. So, all right. Bear with me while I choose the cover for my Instagram thing. Whoop. It's so hard to fucking do this. Okay, cool. I'm satisfied with that. Cool. So we're done on Instagram and Facebook. All right, Facebook people. All right, I think I'm getting ready to turn in unless people have a question or anything. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. Thank you for the advice about shortening my videos. Thank you for reading my stories. That is always something that I enjoy hearing. So, yeah, but everyone, you have a fantastic weekend. I hope everybody has a spooky week. And I will see y'all, yeah, next week. All right. You can find the branding. All right. Bye-bye.
Sounds good.